There's a new way to increase your business with Italy. Join CDP Business Matching, the new digital platform connecting your company with selected Italian partners. Join the network and select your business goals. Choose your partners from the suggested matches. And attend your meetings to build new successful partnerships. Participate in digital events and keep up to date with the latest news and trends from the Italian market. CDP Business Matching. Join, discover, grow. Sign up now at businessmatching.cdp.it.
Good evening, Indonesia. Good morning, Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar dedicated to the Indonesian and Italian companies interested in expanding their business horizons by working together. My name is Laurent Franciosi. I'm the head of the International Business Support Department at Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, CDP, the national financial institutions that supports the sustainable development in the public and private sector in Italy and abroad, including Indonesia. We are here today to analyze the bilateral relations, to hear about the untapped business opportunities, and to promote the instruments which can help you to catch those occasions, including CDP Business Matching Platform, made by CDP with the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Development. Today, we have a very rich agenda with many guests joining us from Indonesia and Italy, representing the main institutions and partners of this initiative. And we will do our best to interact with you, entrepreneurs, managers, or consultants following us live. In fact, during the event, you can send us your questions by clicking at any moment on the Ask a Question button located on the bottom right of your screen. So do not hesitate. At the end of the webinar, we will try our best to answer all the questions you would post. And now I would like to officially open the webinar. Please let me introduce Miftah Farid, the Director of Export Product Development at the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia. Good afternoon, Mr. Farid.
Good afternoon, sir.
So we are very honored to host you. So I leave you the floor, Mr. Farid, please.
Okay, thank you. His Excellency Mr. Benedetto Latteri, Ambassador of Italy to Jakarta, Honorable Mrs. Antonella Baldino, Head of CDP International Cooperation and Development Financing, yang saya hormati Ibu Sinta Kamdani, Chairwoman of B20, Honorable Speakers, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. Allow me to express my greetings and appreciation on behalf of the Vice Minister of Trade, Bapak Jerry Sambuaga, for giving us the opportunity to participate to the launch event of the CDP Business Matching, new digital platform connecting Italian and Indonesian companies. This year marks the 73rd anniversary of the diplomatic relation between Indonesia and Italy. Throughout our 73-year diplomatic relation, the two countries have expressed a strong desire to strengthen bilateral relations, particularly in the field of economy and trade, which form the backbone of our cooperation. As a fellow G20 member, and one of the largest economies in the European Union, Italy is an important economic partner for Indonesia, Despite disruption to the global supply chain and trade brought by COVID-19, Italy has remained one of the Indonesian biggest trading partners with total bilateral trade of $4.5 billion in the last year. Italy is Indonesia's third largest commercial partner in the European Union after the Netherlands and Germany. The bilateral trade performance has been characterized by 3.9% continuous growth trend from 2017 to 2021, with a cyclical decline in 2020 due to the pandemic and a sustained recovery in the last year with a growth of more than 27%. Between January and July 2022, the total trade exchange between the two countries is $2.6 billion, representing a 6.5% increase over the same period in the last year. The Indonesia trade with Italy has a complementary nature and is beneficial for both countries. The main sectors of commercial export from Indonesia to Italy are iron and steel, vegetable oils, chemical products, footwear, and also fish, around 4% of the Indonesian total export to Italy. Dear guests and distinguished participants, Indonesia-Italy relations have made a qualitatively forward in the last decades, yet there is still considerable untapped growth potential between our countries. In a difficult time like world has been experiencing for 2 years due to the pandemic COVID-19, we should actively explore even more opportunities for collaboration, especially in the emerging area of digitalization, innovation, and the green economy, and also create stronger incentive for SMEs development cooperation. As restrictions are imposed and social and economic activities become more digital, the pandemic has presented a strategic opportunity to accelerate the digital transformation process to provide more business opportunities. Therefore, we applaud the launch of CDP Business Matching as an innovative tool that will enable Indonesian and Italian companies, particularly SMEs, to meet and grow by forming new partnerships and strengthening bilateral ties between the two countries' business communities. In relation to creative economic cooperation, we hope this business platform will facilitate and expand more collaboration between Indonesian SMEs and related partners in Italy, particularly in the culinary, craft, and furniture industry, as well as the fashion industry. We anticipate possible networking for Indonesia modest fashion industry as we work toward becoming a global modest fashion center through the Jakarta Muslim Fashion Week, which will be held back-to-back with the Trade Expo Indonesia on October 20 to October 22. CDP's virtual business matching serves as a bridge to networking and expanding commercial relations between our countries. Furthermore, on this joyous occasion, I would like to encourage businesses representatives from two countries to explore the potential and deepen economic engagement between Indonesia and Italy through Trade Expo Indonesia, in order to enable and facilitate Indonesia and Italy companies in exploring future trade cooperation in contributing to the post-pandemic economic recovery. With that, let me conclude by expressing my gratitude to the organizers for their work for further Indonesia-Italy relation and for giving me chance to address this respectable audience. I thank you and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Farid. Thank you also to the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia. We noted really your suggestion to the Italian and Indonesian companies to explore the potential opportunities between our two countries, especially in the green, innovative, and digital sectors, which will be the fil rouge of this event. Thank you very much again. Goodbye. And now I'm very glad to connect again with Jakarta. We fixed the problem and we can welcome His Excellency, the Ambassador of Italy in Indonesia, Benedetto Latteri. Buonasera, Ambasciatore. Good evening, Ambassador, live from Jakarta.
Good evening, good morning to you in Italy. Good evening, good afternoon in Jakarta. I would start saying that Pak Farid has a very good Italian pronunciation for my name and the other Italian name he said a moment ago. I like to acknowledge the presence of Director Miftam Farid from the Trade Ministry and also Antonella Baldino from CDP. Let me also extend my sincere warm welcome to Shinda Gandani. Is a very knowledgeable person within CADIN, which is the Association of Entrepreneurs and Chamber of Commerce of Indonesia, chairwoman of the B20 engagement group within the G20, and also to Barbara Beltrame from Confindustria Italy. I would say that this is a very timely meeting today because in this week, in this very week, the G20 trade ministerial will be held in Bali, and myself tomorrow morning I'm flying again for the 10th times in Bali for this to attend these ministerials and to assist also my Vice Minister Maglio Di Stefano, who is due to head the Italian delegation over there. And trade is at the center of the G20 deliberation for a good reason, and let's hope for a fruitful discussion in Bali during the week. I have nothing to add to the figures that Pak Farid said a few moments ago about the bilateral trade between Italy and Indonesia. The only remark I would say is that, to my opinion, is a very modest bilateral trade. Probably there is plenty of room to, I would say, to tap for the potentialities between the two countries. Currently, Director Mifta Farid said that the two economies are broadly complementary. That's really true, and there is a large, very huge demand of Italian supply in Indonesia, and that is probably the sense of this platform that today we are presenting to the operator, especially the Indonesian operators, but not only, also Italian. They are invited to use this tool for matching each other and foster the bilateral trade between the two countries. Green economy, the Minister of Trade said, the director said, I would add green economy, yes, especially in agriculture, high technology. I've been thinking about space and space economy and healthcare. at least healthcare, including pharmaceutical. There is a huge opportunity for good matching between the two business communities. So let's listen to the presentations of this platform. Let's listen to the other keynote speakers, and all the best for this discussion today. See you later.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your words, and I would like to thank you and the entire embassy for the great support toward organizing this event. And so we will be back to you at the end of the webinar for the closing remarks. See you later. And now, joining us from Rome is Mrs. Antonella Baldino, the head of CDP International Cooperation and Development Financing. Good morning, Antonella. I see that you are ready, so the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to introduce today's webinar on behalf of Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, or CDP. First and foremost, I would like to thank all the colleagues and the distinguished guests taking part in this webinar, and in particular His Excellency Ambassador Benedetto Latteri for the sterling work done in promoting a friendly and fruitful collaboration between Indonesia and Italy. Through its double role of national promotional institution and development finance institution, CDP has a long-standing solid experience in initiative dedicated to the sustainable growth and development of companies in Italy and abroad. In its traditional role as a national promotional institution, CDP focuses on the domestic market with a public mandate of promoting Italy's sustainable development. Over the past few years, CDP has increasingly expanded its operation in international markets, pursuing two main objectives. On one hand, contributing to the sustainable, equitable development of both Italy and our partner countries, and on the other hand, contributing to strengthening and diversifying global value chain by supporting Italian entrepreneurial excellencies in their international growth. This greater engagement of Cassa Depositi e Prestiti in the international markets also stem from the public mandate of CDP as the Italian financial institution for international development cooperation. Through its mandate, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti can provide a wide range of financial solutions, from loans and guarantee to investments in funds and advisory services, to promote initiatives in high-growth countries that contribute to the SDGs and to the objectives of international agreements on climate. In this context, Indonesia represents a strategic partner for Cassa Depositi e Prestiti. Over the past few months, CDP has intensified its engagement with key Indonesian organizations, including Kadin, which we have the pleasure to host today in this webinar, as well as leading financial institutions operating in Indonesia with the aim of identifying potential areas of collaboration. Moreover, CDP is well positioned to provide a distinctive contribution on a number of practical cooperation areas that were agreed last June between the Italian government and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. In particular, we see four priority areas for practical cooperation for CDP's contribution. Firstly, promoting sustainable development cooperation in the ASEAN region, which perfectly align with our public mandate as the Italian Development Finance Institution. Secondly, supporting contrast to climate change. Climate change represents an increasing focus for CDP, also in its new role as a designated fund manager for the recently established Italian Climate Fund. This fund, which will be endowed with 4.2 billion euro over the next 5 years, represents Italy's main public instrument to mobilize climate finance resources towards emerging markets and developing countries, both in the public and the private sector, with debt and equity instruments, as well as with dedicated initiative of technical assistance. A third priority area is represented by promoting gender equality. CDP is an active member of 2X Challenge and 2X Collaborative, the global coalition of financial institutions dedicated to women's empowerment. And finally, the focus of today's webinar, supporting the promotion of trade and investment relation, which is one of our priority area and fields of expertise. So key priority area defining a stimulating scenario for potential cooperation, and I'm confident that Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, with its internationally recognized expertise and wide range of financial solutions, can operate as a key partner to foster a greater collaboration and exchanges between Italian and Indonesian companies, between our economic and financial systems. With this goal in mind, I look forward to a productive working session today and a fruitful partnership for us all in the forthcoming future. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Antonella. I would like to thank our speakers for introducing our audience to the great potential of the relations between Italy and Indonesia, and generally speaking with the wider ASEAN region, as we heard from Antonella, with a special focus on the UN 2030 goals. As well known this year, Indonesia is the host country of the G20, and today we have the opportunity to speak about innovative, inclusive, and sustainable growth with the Business 20, B20, the engagement group within the G20 representing the international business community. And to exchange on this, I'm really honored and proud to introduce Shinta Kamdani, Chair of the B20. Good evening, Mrs. Kamdani. I'm very glad to see you again.
Good evening, and it's afternoon actually here in Jakarta, and it's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
So thank you very much for accepting this invitation. Our audience is really excited to hear from you. So I leave you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, let me give my greetings to Your Excellency Benedetto Latteri, the Ambassador of Italy to Indonesia, Antonella Baldino, the Head of CDP International Cooperation and Development Financing, of course, Pak Miftah Farid, the Director of Export Product Development, Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and all invited speakers, good morning for those, well, it's evening in Italy and afternoon in Indonesia. I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to CDP for their collaboration in hosting this event and their support in really strengthening the Italy and Indonesia relationship. Similar to the CDP, I believe that there's a lot of untapped potential in our current bilateral partnership, both diplomatically and economically. Given the size of Indonesia market potential and geopolitical role in the ASEAN realm, as well as Italy technological conditions and more mature economy, cooperation and shared concern between the two countries will undoubtedly benefit us all. As the representative of the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as the chair of the B20 Indonesia this year, which is the business engagement group of G20, I'm honored to have the opportunity to share my thoughts on how a strong partnership between Italy and Indonesia can further advance our shared goal of advancing innovative, inclusive, and collaborative growth. After this event, I hope to see a substantial increase in agreement and commitment across businesses and government to connect Italian and Indonesia businesses and remove the barriers that hinder our crucial cooperation. Many of you may not be familiar with the B20 Indonesia this year. We support our government focus on the 3 priority issues. The first is global health architecture. I think the pandemic has exposed the gaps and flaws in the global health system that needs to be immediately fixed. As of now, our health infrastructure is exclusive, unfair, and unresponsive to the crisis. For instance, only 63% of the world is fully vaccinated from COVID-19, and 3.6 billion people do not have access to safely managed sanitation in their home. The WHO even estimates that roughly 22 countries need to rebuild their entire healthcare system from equipment to human resource and governance. Thus, this post-COVID-19 period served as an opportunity for us to improve our pandemic preparedness and advance transformative infrastructure that will strengthen global health standards and ensure our resilience towards any future outbreaks. The second is digital transformation. To further propel our goals of a strong and resilient recovery from COVID-19, we need to leverage digitalization in ways that would ensure common prosperity and eradicate global crisis. It is undeniable that the benefit of rapid digitalization and globalization have not been equally shared. The combination of increased international competition, skill bias, technical change, and labor-saving technology has hurt less educated workers in both rich and poor countries. It is this situation, if this situation remains, inequality will also widen, living condition will worsen, and more than 85 million jobs would go unfilled because there aren't enough skilled workers to take them. Thus, we need to create a more inclusive digital transformation that will train a global workforce that can keep up with this ever-changing and ever-innovative role. We need to foster an environment that encourages lifelong learning and adaptation, especially when MSME can assimilate into the digital ecosystem. Digital entrepreneurship is encouraged and women empowerment is revitalized. The third is sustainable energy transition. Another hurdle to our goals and recovery is climate change. I think this was mentioned also by previous speakers. Across the globe, we are seeing volatile temperatures, record-breaking heat waves, immense floods and droughts, and energy crises that further exacerbate these problems. We need to increase the usage and implementations of cleaner energy sources in our day-to-day activities, and also ensure that this transition will be widespread, just, and affordable. I want to underline the word just and affordable. That we also commit to the green agenda. If not, there won't be much of this world left for our future generation. Thus, the G20 member country must cooperate to advance this crucial energy transition to not only foster sustainability, but also to provide a platform for greater investment. By focusing on the 3 issues, Indonesia G20 presidency has redirected and guided our global effort and cooperation in solving some of the world's most pressing issues, while bolstering a post-pandemic economy that is innovative, inclusive, and sustainable. However, it is pertinent to remember that the key to achieving and tackling this priority agenda is collaboration. not simply across government, but also between businesses and academicians. We need to work with each other across country, across industry, to ensure that we can create a world and economies that are conducive to our aspiration of growth, sustainability, and equality. This is one of the reasons also why the B20 established to foster cooperation between private and public sector. B20 Indonesia has established multiple task forces and legacy programs that advance and promote our focus this year. Through our work, the B20 has created not only actionable policy recommendations centered around 7 key problems area: finance and infrastructure, trade and investment, future of work and education, digitalization, integrity and compliance, energy, sustainability and climate, as well as women in business. But also concrete and tangible legacy program that ensure that our work here will last beyond Indonesia G20 presidency. Each of these recommendations and program tackle the priority issue in specific and distinct ways. Thus, their holistic implementation would improve our global health architecture, ensure widespread digital transformation, and accelerate that sustainable energy transition. However, the B20 doesn't want to stop here. We want to create more economic and investment partnership among countries, especially between Italy and Indonesia. For over 70 years, I think Italy and Indonesia have developed bilateral cooperation in a wide range of fields, from trade and investment to social development and defense. In fact, Italy is Indonesia's 3rd biggest trade partner in the European Union, and Indonesia provides Italy immense access and relation to also the ASEAN market. Not to mention that the Kadin Indonesia and the Italian Business Association of Indonesia, IBAI, continue to strengthen their relation and cooperation to boost trade and investment in both countries. In 2020, Indonesia and Italy recorded total trade of $3.3 billion, which is impressive considering the state of the pandemic. However, trade relations have seemingly come to a standstill. Trade volume between the two countries have stayed around 3 billion since 2015, and there looms a large gap of the EU-Indonesia trade volume compared to other ASEAN countries. Thus, Indonesia trade and investment cooperation with Italy has the potential to increase Italy's scientific competence and advanced technology would be great use to Indonesia exponentially growing economy, endowment of natural resources, and a young and large labor force. Such cooperation would not only boost Indonesia development, but also expand Italy business endeavors and investment. By strengthening Indonesia and Italy cooperation in new fields such as green business, the creative economy, and SME participation, both countries stand to gain far more than what they initially imagined. Indonesia is also the 2nd fastest growing economy among the G20 countries and is slated to become one of ASEAN's largest digital economy by 2025 and is a long-running natural leader of ASEAN. This quality makes Indonesia a strong political and economic partner that will help Italy maintain the competitiveness of its goods and services, especially to widen the already high market demand for its import of machinery, vehicle, and high-tech products. Moreover, Indonesia ongoing construction of its new smart and carbon-neutral city. As you know, we are moving our capital city to East Kalimantan. Nusantara provides a fresh opportunity for cooperation in digital and green connectivity. Considering this potential partnership, we will welcome the initiative of CDP to establish the digital platform that connects business from two countries to embrace this opportunity. I highly suggest to also bridge this initiative with our B20 Legacy project, including B20 Wiki, a digital platform to help MSME to scale and be part of the global supply chain by providing them with productivity booster, export capabilities, a developed network, and its opportunity to capture digitalization, potentially increase more trade volume with Italy. We understand that this project will not be easy to establish, We have to start taking action that will reduce economic protectionism, present opportunity for cooperation, and close the gap between the EU and Indonesia. For instance, we must settle the Indonesia and EU Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or Indonesia-EU CEPA. Indonesia and Italy have to find a middle ground that will maximize the benefit and minimize the risk for both countries. By finally settling the CEPA, we can move forward in activities that will advance the green agenda, business development, and inclusivity. I would like to end this remark by saying thank you for listening and by inviting all of you here today to come to the B20 Summit upcoming 13 and 14 November in Bali. I implore us all to work together so that we can leave positive and tangible legacy for Indonesia, Italy, and the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kamdani, for your inspiring speech, for your time, and I wish you really good luck for the B20 meeting in Bali. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And also let me remind, speaking about inclusivity, that women's economic empowerment and financial inclusion have been recognized as crucial to achieve the 2030 UN agenda. In this context, CDP is reshaped its activities in accordance with the SDGs, including the fifth goal regarding the gender equality, as we heard from Mrs. Kamdani. In this context, I would like to remind you, to all our audience, that on Tuesday, 4th October, we will also organize an event to talk about women empowerment, in particular about women entrepreneurship and internationalization. We will have speakers from companies and institutions representing the women business community. And at the end of the webinar, we will also host B2B sessions for women-led companies registered on CDP Business Matching. And now let's dive into the business needs and opportunities for both Italian and Indonesian companies with two important guests. Mrs. Barbara Beltrame Giacomello, Vice President for Internationalization of Confindustria, the General Confederation of Italian Manufacturing and Service Companies. Buongiorno, dottoressa Giacomello.
Buongiorno.
Mr. Yoko Rexoprojo, Deputy Head of Permanent Committee for Europe of the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, CADIN. Good evening, Mr. Rexoprojo.
Buongiorno, I'm Francis Rossi in Italy.
Thank you very much. Let me begin with Mrs. Beltrame Giacomello. What are the main links for collaboration between Italian and Indonesian companies today, also from a sectorial standpoint of view?
Yes, thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to say good morning and good afternoon to everyone. And I would like also to thank the Ambassador Latteri, Farid, Director of Export, and Dr. Baldini, and of course, Shinta Kandami and Arjani for inviting me here. As we know, the global community is facing some unprecedented challenges, geopolitical, economic, and social challenges. The energy crisis and the global instability make our future uncertain and unpredictable. But from crisis come opportunities, and our industrial system are in the condition to successfully face the post-pandemic challenges. We think that today's meeting is a good occasion to discuss and understand how we can strengthen our collaboration and make advantage of it. Indonesia represents a key partners for Italy, both for commercial and for investment. Before the COVID outbreak, trade flows between our countries accounted for 3.1 billion euros. In 2021, our trade recovered from 2020 2020 losses, with a growth of 20.6%, and a further growth is expected in 2022. So these data are encouraging, but we think there are still room for further improvement. Confindustria estimated that there is an expressive potential of cooperation, especially for high value added goods. Our industrial system, both in Indonesia and in Europe, are focusing on the reform program to boost productivity, digitalization, and modernization. So in this context, the private sector can play a crucial role. Trade and investment can accelerate the economic recovery with the inclusive and sustainable growth. Last year, I had the honor to chair the B20 Trade and Investment Task Force. We deliver comprehensive and concrete policy recommendation for actionable challenge to succeed face the current challenges. So the first one was promoting open market and informing the WTO. To turn the pandemic crisis into an opportunity for all, we must reverse the protectionist loop. The second one was enhancing trade responsiveness against future disruption and enable more resilient global value chains. The third one, supporting small businesses in accessing trade finance. Last but not least, was increasing foreign direct investment and making trade and investment impactful driver of sustainable development. So this year, the B20 Indonesia that Shinta is leading toward a great success, it further strengthened with this path, with a great commitment in proposing solutions to global economy challenges and a further look in stand. On Friday, I will intervene at the B20 G20 dialogue on trade and investment, renewing our support for the excellent outcome of the B20 Trade and Investment Task Force. We need to embrace a systematic shift by strengthening international cooperation and reshaping multilateral governance. This is a unique occasion to fill the existing gap and promote a new approach to industrial policy with a longer-term objective. The future of our relation will depend on how we deal with our weakness and strength. If we succeed, our economy will have a leading role in driving the future growth. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Beltrame. And now I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Rexo Projo, and I would like to ask you what are the main challenges that Indonesia is facing, and how are Italian companies perceived by the Indonesian industrial sector?
Thank you. I'll basically relate on the questions that you put up, but please allow me to greet. First of all, to all the CDP organizer that held this important event, Ambassador Benedetto Lateri, Ms. Antonella Baldino, Mr. Farid Miftah, Ibu Sinta Kamdani. Yeah, I have my presentations actually also available that everyone can took this, because there is some information that is regarding some chart. Let me just run through. This is Indonesia basically, and because my time is very limited, I just going to run through and see whether if there is something that you can basically take note. One of the most important thing is to take note on this investment target and plan, which actually Indonesia is aiming to have an average investment grow for more than 5.7% every year. This is a target that is always projected to be increased, and the government basically only providing a participation less than 10%. Therefore, the rest will be covered by the public or private sector. Now, looking through the extent of the foreign direct investment in between Indonesia and Italy, what we can see here, most of the investment goes to West Sumatra, Lampung, as well as Jakarta, and the top foreign direct investor mainly coming for mining, food industries, trade, as well, and for MRO facilities. The role of private investor obviously will goes to four main opportunity that we can see here. That is telecommunication, energy, transport, and water sanitation. If you look through the extent of the one example, the water sanitation, the opportunity is still there and still big. Indonesia is a country whereas more of the territory is water, but mainly it's seawater. So, you know, to provide clean water is one of the key challenges. Therefore, infrastructure, finance, and healthcare become one of the three main aspects that is seen very important. Now, Indonesia is trying to put the private sector role more into net zero pledge, ESG, and impact driven, including building enabling ecosystem. The government and the House of Parliament has basically provided a more easier way to follow the need by providing the omnibus law, which actually giving benefit to the integration, simplification of business licensing, the protection of business, is on investing and doing business, as well as facilitating finance and fiscal incentive. On the other hand, we can see further, the 5 top export products to Italy from Indonesia, mainly iron and steel, but this is mostly raw material, and animal and vegetable fats and oil and other. And then also top 5 import products from Italy to Indonesia, mainly machineries, organic chemical, pharmaceutical, and other products too. And in some situation, the relation in between Indonesia and Italy is getting stronger because there are also some needs following the situation of the potential conflict in the South China Sea. Our defense and defense-to-defense cooperation is becoming more important, and therefore the introduction of defense product from Italy becoming more and more in Indonesia. Now, this is a 10 export potential from Indonesia to Italy. Mainly a paper product, vegetable oil, fat, motor vehicle parts, and then metals, fish, and shellfish, as being explained by Pak Miftah earlier. And this is the trade overview on the 10 export potential from Italy to Indonesia. It's mainly machinery, electricity, ferrous metals, and others as well. Now, Indonesia aim to realize the G20 and B20, like what Ibu Shinta has mentioned earlier. And there are 3 main topics of the business that the Indonesian would like to push. That is digital transformation, green transformation, and health sector. So Kadin is the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, the only one, because during the whole Indonesia. And Kadin Business Service Desk is basically an arm of Kadin, which giving the services for business partnership, cooperation if needed. And we actually covering the whole 34 regional chambers or Kadinda in Indonesia, and then 514 district branches. Most of the associations of businesses also come as member of Kadin. So this is, a few that I can basically share. And, looking through the opportunity, I think there are lots of opportunities. You are not only see, every investment potential as a greenfield, but you can also look through the brownfield cooperation if possible, just to reduce your capex and opex and make things even better. So human-to-human relation, business-to-business relation is important. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Rexo Projo, for providing such very interesting figures about exports and about import-exports and about investments. It was really interesting. And so I would like to thank very much our honorable guest, Mrs. Beltrame and Mr. Rexo Projo. And I wish both to Kadin and Confindustria good luck for the B20 Trade and Investment Forum for the next days. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you very much.
Arrivederci, bye. Now, to see how companies can put into action right away much of what has been discussed so far, I'd like to introduce Mr. Riccardo Onorati Bianchi, the Head of Country System Initiatives at CDP, to present the Business Matching Platform. Buongiorno, Riccardo. Welcome.
Thank you, Laurent. Buongiorno.
So I'm glad to see you. So I leave you the floor to present to our audience the Business Matching Platform.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to all the companies attending today's webinar and interested in the platform. I'm going to show you a brief presentation to describe the Business Matching Platform, the new digital tool made by CDP, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, in collaboration with the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and CIMEST. The platform was realized for companies in order to allow companies to meet, share business intention, and have new commercial partnership. Let me share the presentation, and then I will show you a video tutorial that will explain you how to access on the platform and to request and meet the foreign companies of your interest. Let me start from the reason why we have planned and implemented the platform. The main reasons was to strengthen and support business relations between Italian and foreign companies during an historical period affected by the effects of the pandemic due to COVID, which has impacted on the internationalization process of companies, especially SMEs. This is why the platform was created, to develop business relationships with a free, digital, easy, safe, and innovative tool that allows companies to meet foreign partners selected according to their business goal and internationalization strategies. As you see from this slide, the platform was launched in 2021, beginning 2022, with a focus on distant and complex markets such as China, India, and Japan. And now in 2022, we expanded the operation in new countries such as Mexico, Morocco, and since today in Indonesia, and in coming weeks and months in South Korea, USA, Brazil, Canada, and other international markets. Now, let's see the next slide. The platform has been built on three main pillars: database, fed by Italian and foreign companies interested in business matching. The second is the matchmaking system, where the algorithm proposes B2B matches, evaluating the affinity among registered companies. The third one is the virtual networking system that allows companies to use the platform to organize and attend B2B meetings, digital events, business forum, and webinars such as today. Now, how the business matching system works: companies register on the platform and profile themselves by indicating their business intentions, then send their request to meet new foreign partners, and the algorithm, which is always active and works every day of the year, matches companies based on the profiles and proposes matches. Companies can easily arrange a B2B meeting in a virtual room with within the same platform and with the support of an interpreter if necessary. In the dashboard within the platform, companies also find a range of information, including information on financial tools and supporting services in case they need to continue business arrangement with the partners met during the B2B meetings. Now, what are the benefits for Indonesian companies and why should they register and use this tool? First of all, because according to me, it's a smart tool, always active every single day of the year. It's a multilingual and with live interpreting service available if needed. with the highest European levels of security, and finally, because it is a free of charge system. Furthermore, the platform is a unique opportunity to benefit of a privileged gateway that allows to contact and to meet the Italian business excellence, that thanks to the high quality of the Italian companies already registered coming from CDP network as well as from other partners such as SACE, the Italian Export Credit Agency, and Simest, the Italian agency supporting the internationalization of SMEs. Finally, Indonesian and foreign companies registering on the platform will have access to a range of information on the Italian market and will also be able to attend events, as we said, webinars, business forum with Italian companies in the sectors they are interested in. Among the news and the information, registered companies will be able to access in a new section called Business Matching Tender. In this section, you can find information on opportunities, initiatives, tenders, and projects funded by the multilateral development banks operating in the country, such as ADB, Asia Development Bank, and World Bank. Now, let me show you how to register and fill in the essential information in order to allow the algorithm to select the right partner for you with a high level of affinity. To fill in the registration form, you need to type some few information such as email address, as you can see now, name, last name, phone number, the company name, the VAT number, and the company address. You also can insert your role in the company, if you are the CEO, the CFO, and so on. The system will ask you some more fundamental information in order to select the right partner for you. In particular, in the section of who you are, you will be asked to fill in the economic sector of your business. You can choose from a detailed list of sectors and subsectors. And the company size. In terms of turnover, you can indicate only in what range you are in. It's not necessary to indicate the exact figures. Finally, you have to indicate, this is very important, your business intention. If you are looking, for example, buyers or sellers, distributors or partners. And finally, who you are looking for. If you want, you can also attach and add some brochures, insert your logo, or describe your company payoff. If you need technical assistance, or if you want to receive more information about the platform and its functions, you can also select the small green button at the bottom right of the homepage, as you can see in this slide. Once you have completed the registration, from your dashboard inside the platform, you can access to the B2B meetings. Thanks to the information you have provided about your company and the description of your ideal partner, the matchmaking system will select and propose you some companies that fit with you. The platform will provide you also with a virtual room where the meeting can be held. Now, let's see together the video that explains all this. Well, in conclusion, I remind you that the videos you have just seen can be downloaded from the platform website, as well as the speaker presentations and the official platform brochure. In this last slide, you can find some information about the platform, the partners of the initiative, and the references of the customer care you can contact via email or phone for any kind of information. For further questions, I remain at your disposal. Therefore, I invite you to access the platform now, complete the profiling, and request matches with your ideal foreign and Italian partner. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Riccardo, for this presentation. I'm sure that now our audience is more aware on how to use the platform, how to use the dashboard, how to register, how to profile, and check the available matches, accept it, and organize the B2B meetings. I'm also glad that you mentioned the tender area where the companies can find the available tenders launched by the multilateral banks, in this case in Indonesia. Thank you, Riccardo. See you later.
See you later.
So as we get all the panelists here for the roundtable, let me say that we have already received many interesting questions that we will try to answer later in the Q&A session. And now I would like to say good evening and good morning to everyone who is connecting from Italy and Indonesia. Thank you for being here. Let me begin with Mr. Giuseppe Fardella, the Vice Chairman of the Italian Business Association in Indonesia. Good morning, Mr. Fardella.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Yeah, so Mr. Fardella, I'm very glad to see you again. And what is the role of the Business Association in supporting Indonesian and Italian companies? And how can the collaboration with CDP Business Matching can help the trade growth between Indonesian and Italian companies?
Yes, first of all, thank you to the Italian ambassador in Indonesia, to the Indonesian guests and speakers, and to, of course, the CDP for inviting IBAI to this very important event, which is to formalize the official launching of the Business Matching Platform. I would like, first of all, to make a brief introduction of IBAI and its line of activities. IBAI was established more than a decade ago and as a small association of Italian business entrepreneurs actively and present in Indonesia. We count nowadays about slightly more than 60 members and have a defined scope of work and a multitude of engagements in our hosting country. Our main objectives are to provide a business forum for Italian companies to interrelate with our Indonesian counterparts, to collect and promote economic, investment, financial, and commercial information that can be of interest to all our members, to organize meaningful business and social meetings beneficial to enhance the relation between the two business communities, and to be of support in strengthening bilateral relations between Italy and Indonesia. IBAI, even though it's a relatively small association and it's simply an association, we have the ambition to reach the status of a chamber of commerce, and we are working on this. We work in collaboration with the Italian Embassy, with the Trade Commission in Indonesia, and the Italian Cultural Center. We supporting them and contributing to the many important initiatives of these institutions. We are also engaged in various activities jointly initiated and conducted by the Italian Chamber of Commerce in Singapore and in Philippines, with whom we are affiliated. We cooperate with ICBA, which is the Italian Cambodian Business Association, and we cooperate with various regional chamber of commerce in Italy. In Indonesia, in the Indonesian territory, we have strong relations with relevant institutions, of course, with Kadin. We have relations with various ministries and with active business sectorial associations. There are many associations quite active in Indonesia. It is because of the nature of IBAI's activities that we believe that we can play an important role, and we can support locally in various ways, not only the promotion of the business matching platform itself, but also providing the necessary base economic, procedural, and commercial data necessary to be known by the interested parties from both sides. In effect, we have in these years furtherly enhanced our media communication means that will surely help the Italian companies engage in a dialogue with the Indonesian companies to better understand the business environment, the policies, and as well as other way round for the Indonesian companies that are considering to enter the Italian market. We will make fully available to all parties our media monitoring and data communication system, which is already in place since many years for the benefit of the matching parties. And we will also make available our business partner search service. We will promote also our consultancy agreement services undertaken in collaboration with various reputable professionals in various fields of industry in both countries. I think IBAI has a large network and database that has been compiled in many years of activity that will be most useful once shared to the business community registering into the CDP matching platform, because they are interested to enter in each other's respective markets. And all these data and database and network connections are, of course, available with our association. In summary, IBAI is surely in the position to give all the necessary economic, policy, and commercial services that may be needed by both counterparts to ultimately help the business and trade growth. I hope this gives a panorama, yes, of how we can be of help and who we exactly are.
Thank you, Mr. Fardella, and thank you for IBAI for your support. And now let me pass the word to Mr. Luca Maci, Head of the Infrastructure and Climate Financing Unit in CDP. Luca, good morning. What are the development financial instruments available to companies to grow in Indonesia with CDP?
Thank you, Laurent. First of all, good morning and good afternoon to all the Italian and Indonesian attendants to this very interesting event. I am part of the development financing team within CDP. This team has been established approximately 3 years ago by the Italian government, which gave to CDP the mandate to act as the Italian DFI, Development Financial Institution. As such, our first objective is to pursue transaction in developing countries which can have a positive and sustainable impact for the countries and for the populations. In this respect, the sectors where we are most active are the traditional development finance sectors, such as manufacturing, services, agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. In terms of products, just to give you some examples, we can provide debt financing and financial guarantees to Italian companies wishing to operate, to have transactions in developing countries, such as Indonesia, or to subsidiaries, local subsidiaries of Italian companies already established or to be established there, or finally to local companies wishing to pursue projects in the above-mentioned sectors. We have some constraints which have been set up by the law. One of those is the co-financing. We always need to co-finance transaction together with another financial partner. This means that we cannot take more than 50% of the total debt financing of the transaction. Another constraint that we have is that we cannot directly operate to the benefit of SMEs, according to the European Union definition. In case we have this kind of opportunity, so to support transactions with SMEs, what we do is to provide indirect lending to them through a financial intermediary, for example, a bank or an investment fund. Finally, just let me spend a few words on the Italian Climate Fund. As said before by Antonella Baldino, this is a new facility which has been approved by the Italian government and which shows the commitment of the Republic of Italy towards climate-related transactions. This instrument is as an endowment of more than 4 billion in the next 5 years. And we are pretty sure that will increase and strengthen the business activity of CDP in developing countries in climate-related transactions. Thank you very much, and over to you, Laurent.
Thank you very much, Luca, for providing all those details about the development finance provided by CDP, and for introducing again, the concept of the climate fund. And now let me welcome the chair of the B20 Task Force on Trade and Investment, Mr. Arif Rahmat. Good evening, live from Jakarta, I suppose. How are you, Mr. Rahmat?
I'm very well. Good morning in Italy, and also it's still afternoon here in Indonesia.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Rahmat, what are the opportunities for trade and investment in Indonesia for Italian companies, and how is the scenario evolving?
Yeah, well, thank you again for introducing me and also welcoming me to speak in this event today. Let me start by congratulating CDP along with other co-organizers for obviously a really excellent event and for great work in creating and launching the CDP Business Matching Digital Platform. We believe that CDP is an excellent example of how we can advance trade through digital. And in fact, this is very related to at least 2 of the 4 policy recommendations of the B20 Trade and Investment, which I will speak in a few minutes. But let me continue by sharing a brief overview first of the work that has been done by B20 and Investment Task Force in the past several months, involving more than 150 multinational companies in the last 6 months. So our Trade and Investment Task Force is mandated to formulate policy recommendations on issues surrounding global trade and investment, representing the voice of the G20 business community. Over the course of several months, global business leaders and representatives within and beyond the G20 have come together to formulate policy recommendations on trade and investment. Now, as the outcome of this process, we have come to a consensus and summarized 4 recommendations. First, promote open, fair, inclusive, and efficient post-pandemic global trade and investment multilateral governance, including through reforming the WTO. We believe that strong global recovery and growth cannot happen without a more conducive global trade and investment environment that help countries recover faster from lingering effects of the pandemic. Secondly, facilitate innovation, digitalization, and technology adoption to support international development and mitigation of future global crises. To maximize the momentum for growth, I think countries need to leverage digital technologies to increase efficiencies, lowering costs, and improve inclusiveness in trade and investment. Now, thirdly, amplify support to attain inclusivity in global supply and value chains. More inclusive global value chains will definitely improve global trade and investment resilience and boost growth in real sectors of the economy. For this purpose, increased participation of MSMEs, which have been discussed extensively during this session, in global trade investment should be fostered as they are the main drivers for most G20 economies. And then lastly, make trade investment impactful drivers for a greener and more sustainable development in line with the SDGs. Again, this is a topic that we have just recently here on the climate change and financing, sustainable financing and so forth. So in B20, we believe that only a sustainable economy can provide strong and resilient growth in the long run. As we start actively taking actions to combat the devastating impacts of climate change, trade and investment should be positioned as active drivers to achieve a greener and more sustainable economy. Now, all of these recommendations we formulated in B20 this year were built obviously on top of what's been done in Italy presidency, and we strengthened it even further. And now our second and third policy recommendations, which are completely aligned with CDP Business Matching Platforms and the benefits that it offers. Now, I would like to just quickly deep dive on the second policy recommendation on innovation, digitalization, and technology adoption, how it supports international development and mitigation of future crises. The CDP Business Matching Platform, as an innovative digital tool, has concrete outcomes, linking businesses worldwide and further enabling them to partner and do business collaboratively. With the rise of digital technology and digitalization, like the adoption of 5G and the Internet of Things, businesses along with governments should work together to harness the fullest potential of these technologies to advance business practices and enhance broader prosperity. And we hope that this will result in even more innovation and advances like CDP Business Matching Platform. We're also very excited to witness the launch of CDP Business Matching Platform because it is very aligned with our third policy, which is to amplify the support and inclusivity in the global value chain. As you know, MSME contribute greatly to our economies across G20. MSMEs must be supported through improved access to finance, know-how, digital technologies, and a sensible regulatory environment to promote MSMEs inclusion in domestic, regional, and global supply and value chains. The private sector is playing vital roles in helping MSMEs participate in all of these things. Effort driven by private sectors like CDP are enabling those opportunities to happen. CDP can be a game changer, achieving more inclusive global value chain. Now, we also acknowledge that the private sector cannot do this alone. Strong partnership and collaboration between the government and business community, nationally and internationally, within and beyond the G20 is very important to implement this policy recommendation. Now, in the past few years, Italy and Indonesia have developed strong bilateral relationship. Throughout 2021, bilateral trade between Indonesia and Italy saw a year-on-year increase of close to 40%. On investment, the number of projects in Indonesia supported by Italian entities in 2021 almost double the number in 2019. However, the original number is actually quite small, so I think there's still a huge opportunity that we need to explore together. Now, our Ministry of Investment has created an investment opportunity map. To date, there are 22 investment project profiles that have been prepared, consisting of 11 natural resources-based projects and 11 manufacturing industry-based projects. One of the largest projects that we're doing is in North Kalimantan for an integrated industrial park from raw materials. Nickel, as you know, nickel is Indonesia's largest market share with 37%, and also aluminum. And this is to make electric vehicle batteries. So we're trying to garner the support from international community along with government to complete this project. This project can be a $100 billion plus project. And also I want to share with you that the Ministry of Investment has carried out the preparation of an investment opportunity map since 2020. And March 2022, there are 47 sustainable investment projects worth 155 trillion rupiah have been launched. There are 4 sectors of sustainable investment projects that have been offered: in tourism, in economic zones, free economic zones, industry, as well as infrastructure spread across 3 provinces. So on top of those 4 main areas, I would say that the sustainable and electric vehicle, renewables, and carbon offset projects as conservations. Indonesia is home to the largest mangroves and peatlands in the world, and virgin forests as well. So all of these things will help us into our carbon neutrality commitment, or NDCs. Thank you so much.
Allow me to congratulate the B20 for the great job done this year under the Indonesian chair. And thank you very much, Mr. Rahmat, for summarizing the 4 main suggestions prepared this year by the B20, the 4 recommendations. And now I welcome Ms. Alicata, Senior Expert in Direct Channels at CMEST. Welcome, Francesca, welcome to our webinar.
Good morning, Laurent.
So we heard a few minutes ago by Luca that CDP is more focused on large and mid corporates, but we know that CMES is focused on SMEs, so we can cover the full range of companies that form our audience today. How can CMES help Italian companies in Indonesia and all around the world, making Italian counterparts more interesting for the Indonesian business community?
Thank you very much, Laurent, to giving me the floor. And good morning and afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. CMES is part of CDP Group, and we offer financial support to the Italian company that want to develop their international growth. Working with CMES means having the support of the Italian government, and we offer 3 types of products. Firstly, we offer soft loans for SMEs, such as programs for entering foreign markets, or temporary export manager, or loans to create an e-commerce platform, or loans to attend international fairs or international exhibitions. For these products, we offer a very low interest rate, which is 10% of EU benchmark rates. This line of products will be available in a few months. The second product that we offer is equity investments. We are like a private equity, and we do a joint venture with an Italian company that need to have the majority share in the foreign company they are working with. The Italian company will have also the possibility to use the venture capital fund that have very favorable terms. And the way out for this joint venture is 8 years, and we offer on this product a very low interest rate too. The last product, but not least, is our export credit that includes buyer credit and supplier credit. With this line of product, we offer the possibility to the Italian exporter to be very competitive. With this product, the Italian exporter can offer to the foreign buyers an extension of more of 24 months for discounted debt securities at a favorable rate. As I say earlier, the 3 products that we offer can make a very huge difference to an Italian company that looking to expand their business abroad. I want just underline that in 2021, CMES has supported over 15,000 Italian companies. So with this, thank you very much for your attention, and I remain at your disposal.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Alicata, for your words. So we are very much impressed by the figure you provided. And thank you for introducing our audience to the 3 main instruments provided by CMES in terms of debt and equity financial tools. We will see later for the Q&A session. And now, well, let's open the Q&A session. Sorting out to our speakers the many messages we have received from the companies that are following us today. Let me begin with Mr. Onorati Bianchi, because the first question is related to the business matching platform. The first question is the platform active? Is it possible to begin B2Bs with Italian companies?
Thank you. Yes, the platform is already fully active, and Indonesian companies can immediately start doing B2B meetings with Italian companies. So it is necessary only to complete the registration and profiling procedure by entering all the required information so that the algorithm can select and propose the best Italian partners and arrange relevant B2B meetings on the platform. So yes, it's fully active. Thank you.
Thank you, Riccardo. From the audience, a company asked if the presentations will be shared. The answer I can provide is yes, of course. We will upload all the presentations that we provided today during this webinar at the end of the event, jointly with the full registration of the event. So you can see again the webinar on our platform. We have another question, which I would like to address to Mr. Fardella. In which areas do you see more space to develop new collaborations and partnerships between Italian and Indonesian companies? Mr. Fardella, I think that you are on mute, or we have to fix a technical problem.
Yes.
Okay. If you can restart your answer, please.
Yes. No, I was saying that we all know that Indonesia has had and continues to have a steady economic growth, especially in these last 5 to 10 years. And our hosting country has put in place fiscal reforms for long-term sustainable growth, have undertaken a very aggressive infrastructure development that brings equal economic well-being to all, also the population in the remote areas, and has launched extra incentives for investments in industrial, tourism, and special economic zones. These are very positive information, and if seen if we see this in perspective, based on the information we could gather at IBAI, it means that Indonesia will be the most probably in one of the largest, I would say the 5th largest economy by 2030. We'll have an estimated 185 million productive population by 2030. So we'll become a large human powerhouse. We'll have a GDP forecast in market exchange rate that will be in the range of $2,450 billion by 2030. It will have a purchasing power parity of 5,450 billion by 2030, positioning itself between, let's say, the 5 strongest countries in the world. Also, Indonesia has put in place economic policy packages for business and investors that should polarize the attention and the interest of our Italian industrial sector. These are all positive projections, well sustained by an ongoing macroeconomic figures that we are having nowadays, and despite the global difficulties that we are experiencing in these times. Therefore, we feel confident that there are wide opportunities to develop new collaborations, and we believe the CDP Business Matching Platform is an ideal and meaningful tool to achieve further relations and solid partnerships between the Italian and Indonesian companies. If you ask IBAI which are the areas or the industries of most interest, we would surely say in those areas where Indonesia excels best, which is raw materials, transportation, trading of commodities, fishery, acquiring the transfer of value-added technologies for specific industries on which Italy is strong, such as hospitality, communication, healthcare, pharmaceutical, and so forth. The list can surely go on. but in essence, we are confident that EBA's contribution with our database and our information, with a parallel work and a support to the business matching platform, we will sure be successful partnership. We can establish a successful partnership between the two companies, the companies of the two countries, let's say. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ferdel. I think that you provided very interesting suggestions to our audience from both countries. And now I have a question for Mr. Luca Macci. As an Italian company, is there a limit to the debt lended by CDP?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Well, so our team will work with with the borrower, with the sponsors of the project, in order to gather all the relevant information, and then together with our colleagues of compliance, legal, and all the other departments, we will have a review of the transaction. The overall debt amount will be, let's say, defined based on criteria such as the risk of the counterparty, and as said before, also taking into consideration impact aspects in terms of ESG. And then we do not have to forget what I was saying before in terms of constraints that we have by the law, so that CDP cannot take more than 50% of total debt financing in a specific transaction. So in a nutshell, Laurent, we do not have a cap on the total debt we can provide. As a bank, we will perform all the internal relevant analysis to support the captioned transaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. Now I will quote the next question. Are there specific investment opportunities related to the Indonesian area for Italian companies? I think that Mr. Rahmat is in the best position to answer to this question.
Well, thank you again for the question. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Fardella also for sharing his view, his optimistic view and summary about the investment opportunities in Indonesia. So in addition to what he has said, I think, commodities, Indonesia is very strong commodities, and we are reinvesting the windfall from coal and palm oil into the assets of the future, which is renewables, electric vehicles, and carbon offset projects like conservation, forests, and so forth. So that's a huge area, as I have mentioned before, that's available for global consortium. And then secondly, just to remind our GDP composition is that over 55% of our GDP is actually made of domestic consumption. So consumer business is also another huge opportunity, including tourism, as I've mentioned before. And also Indonesia set up the sovereign wealth fund called INA, which also has a lot of investment opportunities in infrastructure like toll roads and other modes of transportations, airports, and so forth. So there's a lot of investment opportunities in those sectors as well. And lastly, technology. There's so much money has come into the sector that has created unicorns and even decacorns. We have a listed company called Goto. Gojek Tokopedia is a merger of the two, and it's in the north. It's around $20 billion listed in Indonesia today. So I think opportunities like those also are very interesting for foreign investors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahmat, also for introducing the innovation sector and the development of the startups and the venture capital sector. And now we have time for two more questions. One is for CIMEST and one is for CDP Business Matching. So I will address the first one to Mrs. Alicata. How does the business matching platform integrate itself among the financial product of CIMEST for Italian companies?
Thank you, Laurent, for this question. I think that the business matching platform is very intuitive and complete because this platform enhances the range of tools and services provided by CMEST to encourage agreements between Italian and foreign companies, in this case between Italian and Indonesian firms. We will always ready to deepen the topics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Alicata. And we have one last question from an Indonesian company for Mr. Onorati Bianchi related to the business matching platform. What is the premium code and how do I get it?
Okay, thank you for the question. The premium code provides access to more detailed information. Let me say higher level of information about your counterpart companies and for B2B meetings. The code is provided to you by your association or a reference partner, and it must be entered in a field of the registration form. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Riccardo. I must say, unfortunately, that we have several questions yet to be covered, but our time is up. We just received a question from an Italian company interested to have joint ventures in the water treatment sector with an Indonesian company. We will contact you for sure. We will ask to our partners from eBay, from Cadin, to find the best partner for you, and we will contact. So I thank all the participants of this panel for their time, for their interventions, and I hope that we have given an exhaustive pictures to the companies that are following us today. So goodbye to everyone. Thank you. So for the conclusion of this event, I would like to invite back with us live from Jakarta, His Excellency, the Italian Ambassador to Indonesia, Benedetto Latteri. Hello, Ambassador, welcome back.
Thank you very much. It's been a very interesting video conference. I was listening all the way through, and in a way it's rewarding to see that there is an interest from Italy and from Indonesia in established cooperation, fostering cooperation, which still exists, but as many of us have already mentioned, there is plenty of opportunities and opportunity to tap on the potentials. I would like to pick up some of the words that I have listened so far. Ibu Shinta said collaboration, but Ibu Shinta said also investment. Probably today we were focused a little bit more on trade, but also investment came through all the presentation of the Indonesian colleagues. Yes, investment, of course, it's a driver of the economic integration and growth. I would like to pick up another word, which is the new capital, Indonesian capital, Nusantara. That is something that, from a trade point of view, also investment, if you want, Italian operator can provide, can supply a huge amount of know-how, technologies, green economy has been mentioned several times, high technology, and for the new capital. Shinta and some others, Ibu Shinta and some others provided us with a little bit larger frame out of the bilateral balance. They put Indonesia in the middle of the regional situation, economic situation, in particular the ASEAN and the relation between the European Union and Indonesia with the ongoing negotiation of the CEPA, Comprehensive Agreement on Economic, etc. That is true. For CEPA, we need a little bit more time to address a couple of issues. Is it true that Indonesia, ASEAN and Indonesia have launched this RCEP, which is a major area of custom union, free exchange in this area, the largest in the world, and that could be something that also Italian operators through Indonesia can benefit from. So there is a lot. We have discussed many opportunities came up out of this discussion, and I will encourage operators from both sides to take stock both from the tool, this virtual tool that CDP is launching today, but also take stock and use more the export credit product that CDP through CMEST are ready to provide to the Indonesian operators. And last but not least, the embassy is open to discuss, to meet, to foster, to encourage and to support all the operation in the future. So thank you very much again for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to make my remarks.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for your clarifications and your final remarks. And thanks to all the embassy for the great job and for supporting us. Thank you, goodbye, and see you soon in Jakarta.
Bye-bye.
And I remind everyone that you can already organize, as Riccardo said, your B2B meetings by accepting the proposed matches you will find on your dashboard. Most of you should already have received an email notifying these matches. Otherwise, the business matching team is currently verifying all the accounts, and as soon as your profile is activated, you will receive such email. Furthermore, I also invite all companies to come back on the platform to fully complete the profile and brand pages to consent the algorithm to propose even more accurate matches for you. Feel free to contact us at any moment for questions by phone or by email. On the platform, you can find all the contacts. I thank all those who worked on the organization of this event, and I leave you with a short video about Italian excellence in the world, part of the Be It national branding campaign. Thank you again and goodbye. Arrivederci.
What is it? It is passion and style, heritage and diversity, creativity and innovation. It is about making exceptional things, talent, inspiration, engineering, design. We know how to make life worthwhile. Curiosity and dedication, bravery and imagination, expertise and precision. Vision, we've got it, but there's so much more to it. We think big while tackling the smallest details. We're imagining future paths while being inspired by our living past. We're builders, innovators, artists and scientists, but as you can see, there's still so much more to it. Everyday visionaries, original and refined, stubbornly authentic, with unmatched quality on our mind. We are all this, and you can be too. Every time you live it, wear it, feel it, taste it, you'll know it's true. It is our brand, cool and unique. Italy is simply extraordinary. Be it.